Hello and welcome back to Blue Crescent Tarot. My name is Deanne and today's video is one that I didn't ever know if I would actually be able to make, but it has become reality and I am holding in my hands the Idiosyncradeck. This is out of print. This is hard to find. And while I have seen a couple come up on buy-sell trade sites over the past couple years, which is how long I've been looking for this, they go really quickly, and I wasn't one to be looking every day, and so I missed out on those few occasions where one would become available. Every so often I would search to see what was in the buy-sell trade groups, and most of the time nothing really showed up, or something from 2 years ago showed up, and then every once in a while I would see one that, like, oh, I missed one last week or whatever, but then most of the time those were out of my price range. I've seen these sealed going for $600, $800. I got this for an amazing deal from a new tarot friend that I made through some kind of crazy circumstances. So all that ramble to say, I have wanted this deck almost since I started watching tarot videos on YouTube. So in the fall of 2018, like early fall, I think it was maybe end of September, beginning of October, and I was driving back and forth to work. It was a 90-mile drive one way. And so I was spending 3 hours round trip in the car every day. And that's how I came to find the tarot community. Excuse me. So I'm thankful for that long drive that I had, even though that was kind of a crazy life I was living for a few years. Because I thought there's got to be people talking about tarot, right? Like, I just really didn't even know. And one of the first channels I found was Imogen Walters, and she is not currently making content. I think about a year ago she stopped putting out content, and it kind of had some shifts in her spiritual path, and YouTube and possibly tarot wasn't really a part of that, but she has left her content up, and so that's really amazing. You can watch her videos. She has very sweet energy. So she's one of the first channels I found. It was Imogen Walters, Simon at the Hermit's Cave. It seems like there was one other early one that I had found, Veronica Jude, super favorite. So anyway, one of the very first ones that I watched, and I want to say that hers, the first time I saw this deck was in an Imogen Walters video. And again, because I was just coming on the tarot scene in terms of YouTube, I didn't know about all of these different decks. Like, I knew about some, you know, I knew what my bookstore had. I had looked at some things online, you know, some would come up in Amazon searches when I was looking for other things, and so I did know. But really at this time I had my Rider-Waite, I had Crystal Visions, I had Shadowscapes that I had picked up from Barnes & Noble. Or maybe I got that one online, and I had both Kim Cran's decks, I believe, at the time, the Tarot and the Animal Spirit, and I had followed Kim Cran's and other channels as she was a band member vocalist in a band called Family Band. So that kind of came about. I had this little collection, you know, 5 or 6 decks, while and the other two, I have my Rider, my Crystal Tarot, not Crystal Visions, but Crystal Tarot, and Ciro Marchetti's Gilded Tarot. Those were my first 3. So I had that little collection, right? So then I'm like, people must be talking about tarot on YouTube. I get on YouTube, pop in my headphones to make my long commute, and so then I would start listening to Simon's longer videos, Kelly at the Truth and Story. I would listen to some of her videos, because even though I couldn't really watch what they were doing because I was driving, it was just calming to hear people talk about spiritual, tarot, witchcraft, that kind of thing. And of course, then there were some walkthrough videos. So started watching videos on my lunch hour at work, all of this. So anyway, that's just a little bit about how I came to the Tarot Tube community. And I saw Imogen walking through this deck. So I didn't know about out of print and all of this kind of thing. I just thought super old historical decks would be out of print, right? Like those would be rare, hard to find things. I did not know anything that looked like this. Super modern vector graphic art. I didn't know that this would be an out of print thing, right? That term wasn't even really in my head. So I'm watching her walk through this. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. It is so cute. Look at the front. Look at the Hierophant. It's a tree with all of these tools just there for the taking, right? Or for the borrowing. And like, this is amazing. I'm like, yes, that's the Hierophant I need in my life. And okay, cool. So later when I had a break, hopped online, typed it in, saw all the craziness about how this is out of print, and a message from the creator on her shop saying, please don't ask me about this deck. It's never going to have another print run. It's done. I made it. Fine. It's done. The people got their decks. Now no more people get the decks. And that was my first tarot heartbreak. I could not believe. And I knew that it was in high demand just based on the creator's message that she put there. Don't ask me. Okay, so then this was on my wish list. So it wasn't a case of fear of missing out, right? I would have known instantly if I had been around in the Tarot Tube community and known about this deck. I would have been instantly like, oh, I must have that. So I just thought, I can't believe I missed out on this, because I think this is a 2016 deck, and then there was a second run of it in January 2017, I think, just based on videos and stuff that I've watched. And again, I didn't come to the tarot community until a year and a half later. So I was I missed that whole boat, missed it. So this is just so amazing that I finally have it. So I put it out into the universe. I'm like, okay, someday I'll have that deck. Someone will want to trade or sell at some kind of price that's not $600. And I even thought with the right person, if I had like struck up a little connection with someone, maybe I would pay $600 for this deck. Okay, that's how it was. I thought maybe I'll save up, I'll make payments. If some crazy situation happens where I get, a tarot friend and they will let me make payments to them, someday, somehow this deck will come to me. And it has, and I didn't have to make a payment plan, and everything about this is amazing. And I'm so happy that it has come into my little tarot world. So the other rambling part, if you're still hanging out watching this, congrats to you, because this is mostly just for me to get out my excitement. I don't know if I'm coherent right now because this is in my hands. Look at how amazing. Oh, okay. So these are the backs. And the person actually said I could give them a shout out. So thank you, Jennifer King, for sending me this amazing crown jewel of a deck. This is the one. This is the one I have always wanted. Now, the way this came to be is a little interesting, and the way that I met Jennifer is a little interesting. But I just have to say, I've been thinking about this too, like the distinction between like a soul deck and what I've been calling my crown jewel. I don't know if there is one. I haven't worked with this deck yet. I did an interview spread yesterday. We have all different working and evolving definitions of what a soul deck is. I don't care what you call it. I have a video, hashtag my soul deck, that Simon had started that tag, and I have a VR to it, so you can check that out too. I chose an oracle and a tarot, and it was Work Your Light Oracle and Talking to the Moon Tarot. And I don't think those answers have changed, because those decks kind of feel like home to me. That's what a soul deck means to me. I was never in a position where I was searching for a soul deck. When I heard about the term of a soul deck, I just went through my collection or thought about, okay, which one of my decks is my soul deck that I already have, right? I wasn't like, oh, I need to find my soul deck, because I work with lots of different decks. Some people are like, oh, what's your go-to? I don't really know if I have a go-to that I use more than others, except for the one main deck that I used when I was working in a shop. And that was just because of the environment, and it kind of made sense to use that particular deck there. But really, I don't know that I have a go-to, right? I think I use my soul deck as much as I use other things, and maybe even a little less. So anyway, getting off topic, this isn't really about soul decks, but just that this is the sought after. I love the images. I have wanted this for so long. I have the Amethyst Oracle. I can't wait to be just really rebel and shuffle them all together. I probably won't leave them that way, but I do want to at least play with it that way a little bit, just as a super deck, which I have the Botanical Super Deck by the same creator. So that's interesting. But anyway, wow, I'm all over the place. I don't really know what I'm even talking about. Just so excited. And I also wanted to say, if you have your eyes and your heart set on something, whether it's a tarot deck or it's a goal that you have set for yourself, it can happen. It can happen. You can shift yourself into the mindset of abundance and know that you will get the thing, you will do the thing, you will accomplish the thing. Oh my gosh, I have this deck. Okay, so I'm not going to do a walkthrough because there's a ton of them, and I would occasionally watch one if I felt like I wasn't going to get super jealous and heartbroken. But now it's interesting. I started watching Kelly at the Truth and Story. I started watching hers, which I'd never watched before, because I love, excuse me, let me slow down and have a sip of my coffee because I'm getting crazy. Okay. So, I hadn't actually watched Kelly's video on this because I feel like I love everything that she loves and that we're very similar. You might be watching this thinking, bitch, you are not similar. But anyway, what's my point? That there are so many times where she's talking about something and I say, yes, that's exactly how I feel about that. Not always, right? There have been some things where I'm like, oh, I don't exactly agree with her. So I'm not trying to say that I'm her clone or anything, but I feel very much just connected in that way. I'm like, yep, that's how I think about that. She explained that so well. That's exactly how I feel about that. And so I did not dare watch her walkthrough of this because I knew it would just make me cry. So what is so great about this? First off, look how cute the back is. It's just every little cuteness that I want. Look. A star and a moon, and I'm Blue Crescent Tarot, you know, and there's a blue star and a crescent moon. And there's a little skeleton key, and I love skeleton keys. I have a very special key that I will probably show in a little treasures video that I make at some time. And it was a skeleton key to my house that I bought on my own few years back. I don't know how long ago now. I bought my own house, gotten out of a relationship, was kind of just setting up my own little life, and I asked a psychic medium friend of mine, at one point was my boss, maybe will someday be my boss again, I don't know, crazy COVID, who knows what's happening, but I had asked her at the time, this was prior to working for her, I had a reading, and I asked her if I could take, if the spirits in my old house, if they were okay with me taking the skeleton key. The previous owners had left lots of treasures that had really belonged to the original owner of the house, and it was built in 1907. There were photographs, there were letters. It was really, really special. And with all those things that were left behind was a skeleton key to the house, to the original lock in the front door. And I asked my medium, I'm like, am I allowed to take that key? Because I didn't take anything else. I felt like that was a crazy thing to do. Obviously, I wouldn't take the photographs and the letters and everything else that was there. Though I will say the key wasn't with all those things. It was just in a drawer, like where you put your keys, right? Even though they don't use that anymore. It was separate from all those kind of keepsake historical things. But still, I felt like that was kind of being a little crazy. But I did a lot of spirit work with the spirits in that house, and I felt pretty connected. And so I felt like it was okay to ask my friend who's a medium. And before I even finished the question, she said, yes, they say take the key. And so that is so very special to me. That house was just pure magic to me. It was my treasure. I loved it so much. And the reasons I moved were all happy and positive and just next chapter kinds of things. But anyway, all of this relating to a back of a deck, right? So it has the crystals, has the dream catcher. Again, you know all this because you've seen this. Unless you're new to this tarot tube community and you're coming to this video from my little Facebook group, I have a little friends and family kind of tarot group. It's grown a little bit. People will send people there for a little reading or something like that. They have questions, dream interpretation kinds of things. So it has grown a little bit. There are some people in that group that I don't know personally, but I might be putting some links in that group. So if you're here from my Blue Crescent Tarot group on Facebook, hello, welcome. If you have a lot of this is going over your head, that's okay because you'll catch up soon. So maybe some of you haven't seen this if you're new like that, but just so sweet. Love this deck. What else do I want to say? Other clarifying things. Like I don't, do you want to see an image? Do you want to see the front? I had bought a couple of art prints. Now I will say, if you're falling in love with this deck right now, even though I've only shown you the back, this creator, Bott, she does have other work, other things that she's doing. She's active in the tarot community. I follow her on Instagram. You can see what kind of projects she has going. One of her bigger things was probably about a year ago was that super deck I had mentioned. Maybe I'll eventually make a whole Bott video with all of my stuff from her. But do check her out if you're falling in love with this. Now she is also actually redoing this deck. However, it's a reimagining of it. It is not the same. It's not the same little. How do I want to say it? There are similarities. There are some side-by-sides on her Instagram. You can check it out. It's not as simple and minimalist and I don't want to say clean because the new one's not messy, but it's just different. This one's really kind of simple, and her new one is reimagined. It's a full bleed, no borders kind of thing. The artwork, it looks like it has grown up a little bit. You know what I mean? But I love this. I wanted, and I will absolutely be getting her new reimagined Idiosyncradeck. And from what I can tell, it's a very slow process kind of thing. Her reimagining of this, because she has lots of other projects going on. She has made like a body image deck. She made that super deck I mentioned that's a tarot and an oracle together. She has art prints on her in her Etsy shop. I actually have little divination casting dice that I've gotten from her. Really cool stuff. So if you're falling in love with this, do know that the artist is working on other things, but it's just not going to be exactly like this. Look at the Hermit. Look how cute. And I don't know if it's my love for Lenormand that makes me love this so much, because it's just simple things, images, but some of them have some more stuff going on. Like this is the extra card in this deck. So not part of the traditional 78. This one is called Magic. And I just love it, right? It's kind of similar to the Hierophant tree with all the different objects hanging in the tree, but then we have this cauldron and these potions. And this deck is just so bright and happy and cute, which is hilarious because if you'd ask my friends if my style is bright and happy and cute, they probably would say no, right? I like thunderstorms and midnight and starry skies and dark blue, but there are some times that I love little cute stuff. The High Priestess, this is one of my favorite. This is an image that's always in my head when I was thinking about wanting this deck. This image would pop into mind. I just love the style of the artwork and just everything about it. 8 of Stones. This came up in my interview spread last night. How perfect is that? Bringing the idea of working and perfecting your craft and combining it with stones, which would be like pentacles in a traditional deck, for these wire wrapped crystals, right? It's trendy. It's just so cute. And I really love it. The Empress, this is a favorite. I just love it. So anyway, this has been a ramble. 7 of Cups with all the different tea that you can choose. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing to me. So anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. This has been a ramble about the Idiosyncradeck, and oh my gosh, I didn't tell you how I got it. Okay, so Jennifer King, right? I gave her a little shout out. She's amazing. She's my new favorite human because, okay. So if you recall in my, my VR to Zane Tarot Token Witchery, oh, she wanted a picture. I bet I could just send this to her. Anyway, side note. So Jennifer King is an admin in one of the buy-sell trade groups on Facebook. I'm in several of these groups. Well, I don't really know how many there are. I'm in 3 or 4 buy-sell trades. It's a great place to hang out and find secondhand decks. People want to move them around. People want something new. You can get a little deal on a deck. Okay. So, Zane from Tarot Token Witchery made a video called Recent 5 Top 3 Tarot, and in that VR you take your 5 most recent decks and you choose your 3 favorite cards from those decks, something that drew you in, or the ones that kind of, you know, snap resonate with you, which is kind of how I went through it. So anyway, you can check out that video if you're interested. One of the decks that was in that video is this Margarete Petersen Tarot. You may have seen this with the white box and the same cover imagery. This is the burgundy box, German edition. I really wanted this version because it has burgundy borders, and I just loved, even though I can't find a walkthrough of this now, I should probably do one of this particular version. I swear I saw someone do a walkthrough of this and I saw the burgundy borders and I thought, wow, that really, like, I loved the deck anyway, but I thought if I could get that version, that would be amazing. Well, now I want the other version anyway because I knew this book was in German, and it has this poetry, the meanings are kind of written in poems, and so I do really want that, and so I probably will get the white box version as well. Okay, so in my recent 5 top 3, I showed this box, this deck, and I said, you know, this came into my collection a little bit differently than most decks do. What I meant by that was, I think it's okay to talk about this now. I think everyone's squared away and I have like 60 people subscribed, right? So this isn't going really anywhere. It's fine. I bought this deck from someone in a buy-sell trade group. I paid $70 plus $8 for shipping. I paid $78. I remembered because it was 78 cards, like a tarot deck, right? Okay. I sent someone $78 via PayPal for this. Originally, the funds went on hold, which had never happened to me before, and that should have just been a red flag, I guess. Though I don't really even still know what that means. We were talking about it a little bit in this group and still kind of trying to figure that out. But I'm like, okay, so the person messaged me and said, oh, hey, I see the money, but it says it's on hold. Can you try to resend it? Also, it's only for $73 or something like that. Can you, do you know why? Well, yeah, I know why, because I send it goods and services, and so it takes the fee out so that I'm protected. Well, they were acting like they didn't know what that was all about. So I'm like, I'll resend it, friends and family, so you get the full 78. Bad idea. That was dumb. But anyway, so I'm already feeling weird about this. I've never had any issues buying secondhand from people. Everyone has been so great, so nice. Most people send an extra little card in there or an extra little oracle card with some sweet message or a little handwritten note. Not everyone, but people they're really sweet. They send little, I don't know. I was just so angry. Anyway, felt like there were red flags popping up. Really wanted this deck. I'm like, this person, just whatever. Here's your money. Okay. A week goes by, 2 weeks go by, all this time goes by. I can't even really keep track because it was so long. Like, I legit had major life events happen in the time that I ordered this from the person and the time that it actually got in my hands. Like, I had a life-changing, I had kind of a rough time mid-September, right? I may or may not get into that at some point. But I had this huge thing happen in the midst of like waiting for this deck. That's how long it took, just to let you know. So, every couple weeks I would send a message, but again, I didn't have time to follow up with this person because I had major life stuff going on. And so when I would check in, they'd say, oh yeah, I'm like, hey, do you have tracking or anything for that? I still don't have it. Could you send me a tracking number? They'd say, yeah, here it is. And send no picture, just send nothing. That's what it was like dealing with this person. So it's whatever. I didn't want to harass too much because like I get worried about, this person has my address. Like, I don't know, not to be super paranoid, but I just thought, I'm just not going to bug them. Like, I don't know what they have going on. Clearly this is a scam situation. I guess I just don't get my Margarete Petersen right now, whatever. And again, after this huge life event happened to me, I was like, it's just fucking tarot cards, right? Like, I don't have time or energy to worry about that. I have serious stuff going on. A couple days later, someone had reached out to me and said, hey, did you have dealings with this person? We're trying to gather some information. And like 3 weeks prior to that, I think I had reached out to someone else that I saw commenting with them saying, hey, did you ever get your deck from this person? Because I haven't, and I'm just kind of curious. So anyway, then fast forward, someone does the same to me. Hey, did you ever get your deck from this person? I saw you commented to them on this date. And I said, no, I did not. It said, I've talked to 2 other people. One got their deck, one did not. So I think there's kind of something going on. I followed up with it because I have stuff going on. They said, okay. Then, somewhere in there, Jennifer had gotten in touch with me before my big life event. And I answered all her questions, gave her all the info. I'm like, I don't really know what I'm going to do from here, but here's everything that's happened. Here's screenshots of this and that, because I wanted to help her out, at least get that information for people that were following through. So my big life event happens, and then they got back to me again. I think Jennifer got back to me and said, hey, we're starting this little group. There's 6 or 8 of you, whatever. Can I add you to this Facebook group, this little thread, like a message thread, so that we can kind of gather all the information in one place and see if we can get some results. And I thought, okay, sounds like she's going to really kind of take the reins here, and I don't have to do much, and I don't have to keep reaching out to this person in some super in-depth way. And I thought, okay, yeah, put me in the group. Let's see what's happening. So Long story short, I see that I'm coming up on 30 minutes, so I don't know. I don't know who's watching this, but long story short, I think all but one or two people, some people wanted their decks, some people wanted money back. There were a lot, some people had made multiple purchases, so there were all of these kind of boxes to be checked. I finally got squared away a few weeks ago. They actually ended up sending my deck to another person in the group. And then she's another new tarot friend. And then the scammer person sent me the wrong deck. But they were trying to do right by then, right? They were trying to get everything squared away and sent us the wrong decks. And so then we sent each other the correct decks. Blah, blah, blah. I finally got the deck, right? It smelled like wet basement. It's mostly better now. I think I have fixed it because of the gloss. It's not high gloss, but there was enough on it to protect and kind of point being, I sprayed Thieves spray, like it's like a citrus and cinnamon and clove mix in a spray. I sprayed Thieves directly on the on these cards and in the box and on the book. And it's pretty good. I left them all spread out sitting in my tarot room, which has incense and everything just kind of embroiled in here. So the deck, I feel good about it. I've cleansed it. It doesn't smell like wet basement anymore. And because I was in this group to get our problems resolved with this person and get what we had asked for or our money back, all of us in the group have been chatting about decks that are coming out, about our wish list, about our collections. And at some point, so everyone's talking about new things. Everyone is talking about, Bone Stone and Spirit Keepers and these high value trades that are going on, and either I'm so happy that I got the Bone Stone or I missed out on it and whatever. Now let me say, that deck is absolutely gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Here's how I know how much I love the Idiosyncradeck. Bone Stone is beautiful, and I'm sure the book is amazing. I've seen some people holding it up, reading a couple little passages out of it. And I think if someday I have an opportunity to get that, but not for $500 like what I'm seeing right now. So, and it's again, if you want to spend that on it, and that's fine. But this is just how I know how much I am so infatuated with this Idiosyncradeck, because I just don't have that spark for that deck, right? I'm like, that's fine. I want you all to have it. I want to see your walkthroughs of it. I want to see you read with it. Beautiful, great. I don't have that I have to have that deck syndrome about that, and I absolutely had it about this. So anyway, what am I even saying? I got this deck, chatting with Jennifer and other new tarot friends in the group. I think people were talking about Bone Stone, or they were talking about their Baba Studio decks, Bohemian Gothic, and all these, classic or new on the scene, really high value decks, highly sought after. And I was like, oh, I hope you all get, what you're looking for. I hope you can sell the deck you want and get the money for this one. I hope that all works out. I'm like, dang, your girls over here just want an Idiosyncradeck. And Jennifer said, oh gosh, I have one of those. I haven't done anything with it in so long. I might be interested in selling. What? New friend Jennifer? What? And I said something about, oh, I'd probably spend $600 on that from one of you people, right? My group, people in the thread, because I had been talking to them and I trusted them, and I was like, if one of you had that to sell, I'd send you $100 for the next 6 months, right? I would take my play money and I would send it to you because I want the Idiosyncradeck. And she said, for that crazy amount, I might sell mine. And I said, please let me know. So a week went by and she's like, oh, hey, I should send you pictures of that before I forget about it. And I was like, oh, totally fine. Please send pictures. Let's talk, right? So anyway, won't get into the price details because it doesn't matter. I did not end up having to pay $600 for it. I will tell you that. And I will tell you that I am absolutely elated to have this here in my collection. And I'm so happy that I have this Burgundy box Margarete Petersen. These were kind of the two top things I wanted. Now this one isn't so, there's no craze really about this deck as there is about this one, but it's hard to find this German edition. Again, there's no walkthrough of it that I can find. If you do find one, please send it to me, but I think I'll do a walkthrough of this one because if someone out there like me wants to see it with those borders, I think that'd be worth putting online. So anyway, following my little wish list to get this deck, and then led to this big scam situation, which was very disappointing and, you know, kind of sad that that happened in our tarot community, led to me being in this group and having new friends to chat with about tarot, and it led me to this deck. Now I have my crown jewel. So it's just amazing how things work out, isn't it? Thanks for hanging out with me during my hyper ramble about the Idiosyncradeck. Oh, and Jennifer sent me this very sweet postcard. This says Cynthia Kittler, Kittler, Cynthia Kittler for Cause Box. So I think that's like one of the subscription things, right? So anyway, she sent me this sweet card with a little message on the back, and here's the paper that had my Idiosyncradeck in it. This sweet little paper she wrapped it up in. Had this little constellation washi tape wrapped up around the crystal, which I super love. That's totally my thing. I'm gonna keep this paper forever. And she sent me this beautiful amethyst. Can you believe it? All of this because I got scammed in a buy-sell trade group. And you know what? It was just really worth it. I got my little dream deck and a beautiful gift on top of that. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you, Jennifer, for all the work you did to bring resolution to our crazy problem. And I just so appreciate everything you did for that, honestly, because I would not have followed through with that on my own. Thank you for taking the initiative and doing that. It's really hard work for someone who just wants to be an admin of a tarot group, you know? So anyway, thank you for the work you do, and thank you for this amazing gift. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all watching. If you come here from my Blue Crescent Tarot Facebook group and this is your first video you watch, sorry for all the rambling. Check out some of the other videos that I have on my channel, and I think that's it. I'm gonna cut it off here. So did not get to make a video this past weekend, so I'm just here on my day off, squeezing in a little video time. So I'll be back hopefully soon with something that makes more sense, is more coherent, and all of that. So thanks. Bye. Love to you all.